The rain had only just stopped when Adrian Blackwell, one of the most powerful millionaires in the city, stepped out of his chauffeur-driven car with his fiancée Claire. The wet pavement glistened beneath the streetlights, each drop reflecting the golden glow of the city around them. They had just left an exclusive charity dinner, the kind where everyone smiled politely, glasses clinked in perfect rhythm, and conversations were polished but hollow. Adrian's world was built on control, success, and power. But that night, life had a different plan. Claire tightened her shawl around her shoulders as the cold night breeze touched her skin. She was about to step into the car when she suddenly froze. Her hand reached for Adrian's arm, gripping tightly. "Adrian," she whispered. He turned to her, puzzled. "What is it?" Her voice trembled. "There's someone over there. Look." Adrian followed her gaze. Down a narrow alleyway, half hidden in shadow, was a small figure crouched against a brick wall. At first, he thought it was just another homeless child, something he had seen too many times in passing, but something about this one felt different. The boy's frame was frail, his arms wrapped tightly around his knees as though trying to hold warmth inside a body that had long forgotten what comfort felt like. His feet were bare, his face pale beneath the flickering streetlight. Claire took a small step forward. "He's just a boy." Adrian sighed softly. "Claire, we can't help everyone we see on the street. It's late." But she didn't move. Her eyes were fixed on the boy, her voice breaking slightly as she whispered, "Adrian, he looks like your son?" The world stopped. For a moment, all the city noise, the hum of traffic, the chatter of strangers, the rhythm of rainwater dripping from rooftops faded into nothing. Adrian's breath caught. His son. Noah had been 6 years old when he was taken. It had happened in a park, on a warm afternoon filled with laughter and sunshine. Adrian had looked away for just a second, answering a business call, and when he turned back, his boy was gone. That single moment had shattered his world. He had searched endlessly, throwing his fortune, his influence, and his very soul into finding him. But every lead led to disappointment. Every hope ended in silence. Years passed. His marriage crumbled, and he buried his grief behind walls of wealth and work. Now, 10 years later, standing in the cold rain, he saw a boy whose thin face and dark eyes mirrored memories he had locked away. His pulse quickened, his heart thudding painfully in his chest. "Please," Claire whispered again. "Just check, please." Adrian hesitated, then walked toward the alley. The closer he came, the louder the sound of rain seemed to grow. The boy tensed as he approached, eyes wide with fear. Adrian crouched down, lowering his voice. "Hey, are you all right?" The boy didn't answer. His lips were cracked, his hands trembling. Claire came forward, her tone gentle and warm. "Sweetheart, are you hungry? We can help you." For a moment, the boy's gaze flickered between them. There was fear there, but also confusion, as if kindness was something unfamiliar to him. Adrian's eyes caught a faint scar near the boy's temple. His breath hitched. Noah had that same scar. He'd gotten it when he fell from a swing at age 4. It couldn't be. It was impossible, and yet Adrian's heart raced. "We're taking him somewhere safe," he said finally. The boy didn't resist when they helped him to his feet. His body was so light, Adrian could feel every bone beneath the worn fabric of his clothes. They led him into the car. Claire wrapped her coat around him, and for the first time, the boy didn't flinch from her touch. Inside the car, as the city lights rolled past the windows, Adrian couldn't stop looking at him. There was something hauntingly familiar about his eyes, something that made it hard to breathe. Claire held his hand, sensing his turmoil but saying nothing. They arrived at a shelter shortly past midnight. The place was small but warm. Volunteers moved quickly, bringing blankets and hot soup. The boy ate slowly, as if afraid the food would be taken away. When the nurse asked for the boy's name, Adrian turned to him gently. "What's your name, son?" The boy hesitated, then whispered, "Noah." The sound of that name was like a knife through Adrian's heart. His vision blurred as he stared at the boy, unable to speak. Claire's lips parted in shock, tears welling in her eyes. Adrian stayed with him that night. He couldn't leave. The boy slept restlessly, mumbling in his dreams. Once Adrian thought he heard him whisper, "Don't take me back." Over the next few days, Adrian and Claire worked with the shelter staff and police to find out who the boy was. He had scars on his arms, faint bruises, and the hollow look of someone who had lived too long without safety. He didn't remember much, just fragments of cities, voices, and fear. The authorities suggested a DNA test. Adrian agreed immediately, though part of him was terrified. If this boy wasn't Noah, he didn't know if his heart could take losing him again. While waiting for the results, Adrian visited the shelter every day. He'd bring food, books, or small toys. One morning, he brought a little blue toy car, the same kind Noah used to love. The boy looked at it for a long time, then reached out and smiled faintly. It was the first time Adrian had seen joy in his eyes. 3 days later, the call came. "Mr. Blackwell," the voice said. "The DNA test confirms it. The boy is your son." Adrian couldn't speak. His knees went weak and tears blurred his vision. Claire watched as he lowered the phone, whispering, "It's him." "Claire, it's really him." That day, Adrian went back to the shelter. When Noah saw him, he stood quietly, unsure. Adrian knelt in front of him. "Do you remember me?" Noah frowned, thinking. "You came before," he said softly. "I've been looking for you for a long time," Adrian said, his voice breaking. Noah's small voice trembled. "They told me no one was coming." Adrian felt his heart shatter. He took the boy's hand gently. "They lied. I never stopped searching for you, Noah, not for one day." The boy's lips quivered. Then slowly, he stepped forward and wrapped his arms around Adrian. It was an embrace filled with 10 years of lost time, of pain, of love that had waited too long to be felt again. Adrian held him tightly, sobbing into his shoulder, whispering over and over, "I'm here now. I'm here." Bringing Noah home was both a miracle and a challenge. The mansion that once felt cold and empty now had life again. But Noah was afraid of everything, of loud noises, of strangers, even of sleeping in his own bed. The first night, Adrian found him curled on the floor beside the bed, too scared to lie under the covers. Adrian knelt beside him, covering him with a blanket. "You don't have to sleep on the floor anymore," he whispered. Noah shook his head. "It's safer here." Adrian didn't argue. He just sat there with him until the boy finally drifted, to sleep against his shoulder. Days turned into weeks. Claire helped him read again, taught him how to write, and showed him that kindness didn't come with a price. Adrian tried to rebuild what time had taken, trust. They spent afternoons in the garden, planting flowers, building little cars, or just sitting quietly, watching the sunlight move through the trees. Noah laughed again, at first softly, then freely. The sound was like music to Adrian's ears. But healing wasn't easy. Sometimes Noah would shut down, haunted by memories he didn't understand. Sometimes he'd wake screaming from nightmares. One night, Adrian found him sitting by the window, staring out at the stars. "Can't sleep?" Adrian asked. Noah shook his head. "Why did they take me?" Adrian took a deep breath, sitting beside him. "I don't know, son. Some people do cruel things, but none of it was your fault." Noah looked up with tears in his eyes. "I thought maybe you forgot me." Adrian turned to him quickly, his voice firm but tender. "Never. You were always in my heart. Every single day." The boy hesitated, then whispered, "I missed you, Dad." Adrian's eyes filled instantly. That one word, Dad, was enough to heal 10 years of pain. He pulled Noah into his arms, holding him tightly. "I missed you too, so much." Claire watched from the doorway, tears silently tracing down her face. Months passed, and the house began to feel alive again. Noah learned to sleep without fear, to eat without rushing, to smile without hesitation. He and Adrian spent weekends at the park, the same park where he had once disappeared. The first time they went back, Adrian's hands shook. But Noah took his hand and smiled. "It's okay now," he said softly. In that moment, Adrian realized his son wasn't just healing. He was teaching him to forgive himself. One sunny afternoon, Noah ran through the garden, laughter echoing across the lawn as he chased the family dog. Adrian and Claire watched from the porch. His cheeks were full, his eyes bright again. The shadows of the past had begun to fade. Adrian turned to Claire, smiling through tears. "He's finally free." Claire nodded. "You both are." That evening, Adrian sat alone in his study, looking at an old photo of a little boy with a bright smile. 10 years had passed, but the bond between them had survived it all. He whispered softly, "Thank you for finding your way back to me, Noah." Outside, he heard his son's laughter again, a sound he once thought he'd never hear. He closed his eyes and smiled. For the first time in years, his heart was at peace. Because sometimes life gives back what time has stolen. Sometimes love finds its way through pain, through loss, through the impossible. And in saving his son, Adrian realized he had also saved himself.